Among the factors that allow for the successful acceptance and implementation of the UAM is the conciliation of social development with economic and environmental factors. The system of indicators can address various aspects of the UAM services sustainability: economic sustainability, evaluating costs and benefits of UAM services, both at the industry and societal levels; environmental sustainability, measuring the UAM services' contribution to improving the environment by using clean vehicles and alternative fuels, reducing the modal share of motorized road transport, paying attention to the overall environmental life cycle cost of the new mix of environmental transport mix. Social sustainability, evaluating the distribution of benefits and potential negative effects of UAM services within social groups and city zones. This deals with how easily people can travel around a city concerning physical and economic accessibility and its impact on health, and also includes how society is organized regarding land use, affecting the travel demand and property's value under the citizen's perspective, and governance involving how measures can be implemented and their effects monitored. The indicators in the table are essential in evaluating the 3 sustainable dimensions of UAM deployment. Among them, special attention should be devoted to the social sustainability aspect. Although economic and environmental aspects present technical nature, the social perspective is the one with the great disruptive potential for UAM, as it relies on technologies unexperienced by the public and by most transport users. The social acceptance can negatively affect the social sustainability, thus involving the entire UAM proposal. Therefore, social acceptance is one of the aspects addressed in social sustainability, also incorporating 3 main aspects in a sustainable UAM system: societal impacts of transport activities, public concerns, and public acceptance, including safety and security and ethics. The societal impacts refer to potential benefits and adverse effects of UAM that may reveal in the society. One of the most stressed potential benefits is the reduction of traffic congestion, but under the societal perspective, the prevailing benefit deals with the increased efficiency in healthcare, delivery, and search and rescue services. By negative impacts, predictions point out job losses in the transport and logistics sector due to the massive digitalization and automatization. Job loss impacts depend on the drone's services. If drones were deployed in automated intermediate storage facilities, van drivers would be out of business in the longer run. However, if the drone's delivery is at the last mile, the drivers would save their jobs until automated cars take place. Moreover, UAM is expected to increase the number of specialized and highly skilled jobs. Resilience issues also impact the scenario in case drones cannot fly, as in case of bad weather conditions. Mainly delivery for the medical sector cannot be affected, therefore ground solutions would always be available. Noise pollution is another public concern. The situation can be comparable to the issue of traffic congestion that is currently experienced in our cities. Drones will generate noise, even if the future engines and rotors will be more silent. This will cause reluctance in the population and the compromise to create no-fly zone, which could impact the deployment of last-mile deliveries. In addition, people living close to the drone's routes might hinder their deployment. Besides the societal impacts of inclusion on the deployment of UAM sustainable systems, public concerns and public acceptance, including safety and security, must be highlighted. Safety is interpreted as the set of measures and instruments to prevent or reduce accidental events that could cause injury to persons or property damage. At the same time, security refers to the collection of actions and instruments in response to a threat in progress deriving from malicious activity. The most significant concerns are related to human and animal health consequences due to the malfunctioning of the UAM navigation system or adverse weather conditions. In addition, a possible risk may be related to the consequences of cargo loss and the type of goods transported. If the goods are classified as dangerous, the risk is higher. Dangerous goods could, for example, include medical devices or medicines, as well as vaccines or blood and biological samples from sick people or devices including batteries. Added to this is the concern about possible collisions between people and drones, particularly in urban areas with dense populations. UAM vehicles, depending on the various types of models and mission type, can have a relevant weight and sharp rotors and blades. The impact of UAS collisions on humans or physical assets is an open area of research. A recent report identified 23 knowledge gaps in this domain, ranging from battery fires to developing new blade standards more appropriate for ground-based collisions. Ethics is another topic in the social sustainability of UAM. Most of the concerns are related to possible privacy violations and a lack of transparency regarding the aims and purposes of drone operations or distribution of advantages and disadvantages. It becomes clear that comprehensively addressing ethics issues and their effects on privacy and other civil liberties and on equity and inclusion are crucial points for the social sustainability of UAM. Furthermore, there is also the need to remove or anonymize personal data to avoid disseminating personal data without the knowledge of the person concerned and misuse for espionage or cyber-physical attacks. Activating different actors helps to field and share needs and requirements and legitimize paths and decisions with a learning by doing approach, especially if the involvement of stakeholders is comprehensive. In the case of such a novel transport system, stakeholders need to become active agents in implementing new transport policies and introducing them into the path of research and overall feasibility. This approach legitimizes decisions, bringing to the surface relevant issues not investigated yet and clarifying the real value UAM will provide to mobility systems in our cities. Therefore, ASSURED-UAM project has set up an extended advisory board of 83 members that were consulted along the whole project duration in an interactive approach in order to identify most valuable UAM use cases, understanding and harmonizing a variety of perspectives, ranging from the operational constraints to system components lifecycle costs, including environmental, strategy, financing, and public acceptance. This allowed to build a comprehensive insight on pros, cons, gaps, and suggestions, to harmonize priorities and assess proposed standards and recommendations for UAM deployment. Among the stakeholders' consultation activities, ASSURED-UAM conducted a survey in which the social sustainability was one of the key topics. A closer look at prevailing answers to the question, with respect to impact on use cases deployment, costs, social attitude on propulsion and energy supply issues, it is acknowledged that clean energy sources and overall low environmental impact of UAM would improve its social acceptance. Shows that 38% agreed that using energy from renewable sources would improve UAM's social acceptance. Considering the social concerns, not in my neighborhood syndrome, risk perception, annoyance, UAM services affordability, the survey shows a sufficient awareness in all stakeholders of a broad spectrum of the issues of social relevance affecting communities potentially living in areas served by UAM. Among them, 44% partially agreed that building UAM infrastructures might create inequalities in terms of advantaged or disadvantaged groups of citizens or social groups. 41% partially agree that citizens' concerns about the high level of automation required by UAM operations might represent a concrete obstacle to UAM deployment. 41% agreed that a poor environmental footprint of UAM services could prevent social acceptance. 41% agreed that UAM deployment could be hindered by visual or noise annoyance rejected by citizens. 41% agree that to be socially accepted, UAM should bring direct or indirect advantages to many citizens, whether using UAM services or not. 50% partially agreed that UAM citizens could claim more ground areas to be converted into more desirable services. 50% agreed that citizens' concerns about their safety concerning possible incidents might represent a concrete obstacle to UAM deployment. 36% agree that citizens' mistrust of technology in other fields might indirectly negatively affect UAM deployment. 45% agree that cities willing to implement UAM should plan communication, consultation, and engagement actions with all citizens to create the social and economic ecosystem needed for UAM deployment. Other activities of ASSURED-UAM project were aimed at understanding the reasons behind the answers collected via the web survey. In the field of the financing and public acceptance, also the impact of acceptance on UAM deployment and the most probable financing models were assessed. The high level of automation was pointed out as an issue for social acceptance and for managing unexpected, non-nominal contingency events, the ones that couldn't be governed by artificial intelligence. Moreover, the issue of citizens potentially impacted if operations are not well integrated into the urban environment arose. In fact, citizens can be negatively affected if you imagine that you are living in the city and thanks to vertiports there will be a lot of movements with more or less noise and that could not be accepted by the public. Regarding the expectations for the UAM deployment, public acceptance was pointed out as a relevant issue: nuisance, visual pollution. Thus, trust needs to be built amongst citizens, decision makers at city levels and UAM front-runners also relying on tests, demos, and pilot services to be carried out, reaching out to citizens and local decision makers. ASSURED-UAM conclusions on social aspects of UAM sustainability highlight the importance of focusing on safety and privacy issues, paying attention to the visual pollution and noise, justified pertinent rights and ethics issues arising for the use of vertical space in cities. UAM must be beneficial, cheaper, and cleaner. It is of utmost importance that UAM services are designed to prevent poor overall environmental footprint and are designed in an integrated manner with both the other urban transport services and other smart city services that could rely on UAM in order to bring direct or indirect advantages to many citizens, whether using UAM services or not. Evidence shall be given to the proper consideration of the role of artificial intelligence and its limitation, necessity, and consequences in replacing human activities.